Up next on the MARR Army Rock Show, making their first appearance on the Rock Show from Manchester, New Hampshire, we have got Sepsiss with us. We've got William and Tim. They got a brand new record due out August 21st. Guys, welcome to the show.
How you doing, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you guys being here. So, based on your bio, man, it looks like you were founded around 2011, so that means we're coming up on about a 10-year anniversary. So, why don't you tell me a little bit of the history and the story that is the band?
Honestly, we're old as dirt. This is William. I'm actually the old dog in the band. I'm 39 years young, and honestly, like I met Melissa in a rough city, in a kind of a leaky basement. We were taking auditions. We had this great idea after a Warped Tour to start a rock band. I played a little bit of guitar. My brother was managing us at the time. So we started to hold auditions, and we had an audition for Melissa and an Ashley. We wanted a female singer, preferably. Ashley never made it. Melissa did. And then it was, after that, it was really just cutting our teeth locally and regionally and kind of building a base for ourselves and checking the temperature to see if people would like it. And we went through a bunch of lineup changes throughout the years and finally put together our version of the most professional lineup we could get, and that's where we're at today.
So I've been listening to the record today, and it's entitled, for those listening, it's titled Almost 11, but I noticed I didn't see a song called that, and it's not coming out on the 11th, so what's the significance? 11 songs, maybe? Or tell me a little bit more.
So it was our goal to originally write 11 songs, and last year we had kind of an independent presentation of a lot of the demo work before it had gotten mastered, and we were only able to complete 8 songs, aiming for 11. So we knew when we wanted to come out with, a more lengthy presentation, that 11 was the magic number. When we came up with that number, it was strange, like paranormal kind of experience that we were having. Every time we'd be creating or we'd have creative ideas in the studio, it would be 11 o'clock, or it would be almost 11, or it would be 11:11. So originally we wanted to call the album 11:11, ran a bunch of PR on it, got all excited for it, and just forgot to hit the Google button and realized there's about 50 bands that use 11:11. So in a Google world, once again, we were trumped, and we thought, what the hell? Let's call it Almost.
So cool story behind. So how far do you want to take the 11 thing? Are you guys going to start doing things in 11s now, or is it just kind of over now that the record's out?
That's kind of the tradition. It really is. Ever since we started to do that, it was this really strange occurrence that while we were doing something creative, somebody in the staff or one of the stage hands or merch people would say, "Oh my God, you guys got to come up with something. It's almost 11." So now, when 11 o'clock rolls around, it rolls around twice a day. We start to feel the pressure. We don't know if it's impending doom or some sort of a miracle of creative works. But now we're rolling with it, and we have this kind of Alan Watt approach to music, meaning we try not to chase riffs. We try not to beat ourselves up with the anticipation and pre-predictions of how the music's going to sound. So, in all irony, we try to draw straight lines, and it just so happened that we needed a little bit of humor to enter the creative process. And so now it's something that we kind of say just to break up the mood within the team and the staff and all of our creative works.
So there's a music video out there now for Blacklight Invasion. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the adventure that was making that video?
Well, that was actually quite an adventure. So originally we had an elaborate kind of stage setup. We had the stage plot where we had these 8x12 huge plexiglass pieces that we were going to arrange into hexagons, and we were going to light them all. Tim, who's with me now, does a lot of our shooting, and he does a lot of storyboarding and helps us a lot with video design. He plays keyboards in the band. Well, he plays technology in the band, so a lot of our video work, Tim is behind the production of that and editing. So we get out there, it's COVID-19, it's the pandemic, we're all trying to do the social distance thing. We're trying to, there's only so much you can shoot of a band. And this was our one video where we really wanted to show everybody in the act. Before we had these really tight shots because of lineup changes and just the going through and cutting our teeth as a band. We really didn't want to present ourselves until we knew that everybody present was going to be in the act for more than a month or two. And we get out in the field and we try to construct this huge, elaborate plexiglass hexagon stage piece. But we didn't account for holes in the field, and we had bumps, and we didn't understand that we had to level this thing off, and then the mosquitoes and the lighting and the moths. And so the first time we tried to shoot Black Light Invasion, the adventure to the story is it was a fucking disaster. We had plexiglass pieces falling down. The girls were getting bitten by mosquitoes. Everybody's in their COVID-19 masks. It's 97 degrees outside. We're losing light. We got DJI drones in the air, Rockacon lenses, and it just got to the point where everybody was slapping mosquitoes and couldn't perform. So we got smart and we scheduled some studio space in a really cool place called Studio Labs. It's Studio Labs. They built us a really big video wall, and we said, you know what? We want to show the band with this video. Let's focus on showing the band and less on mosquitoes and plexiglass. So we shot Black Light Invasion, clean and comfortable in the air conditioning.
Best way to do it.
We turned it around, man.
So if one, I don't put much stock in what iTunes classifies bands as, but when you pull you guys up, it says your genre's metal. But I've been listening to you all day. There's so much more. There's so many different elements in your music. Can you talk a little bit about what your style is?
I really appreciate that question because when people ask that question, we get to take personal inventory and try to figure out what the hell we are. I'm an 80s guy, a 90s guy. I'm a little older than some of the others. So I'm the traditional one. I think when I think of my earliest ideas of metal, I think of Priest and I think of Maiden and all of these sorts of groups and the guitar harmonies and the really cool traditional simplicity of those bands. Just something that knocks me out of the park with them. And so for us, we wanted something inherently metal that was definably metal, meaning the guitar were aggressive, some of the topics were aggressive, but there's so much heavy metal out there that is violent or super technical or really down-tuned. And I love those bands and I'm a super fan of all those bands. When it came to us, I wanted something to be very definably unique. And one of those things is, we're packed with culture in the band. There's women, there's black people, there's Spanish people in the staff. There's all kinds of shapes and sizes. And we got such a big group. We're such a community-style band that we wanted the music to really be able to reflect that. With modern metal, you get a lot of screaming and bash and crash, and where that holds a place in my hot blood, we wanted to be designed more of like a people's metal. A heavy metal that could appeal to people that maybe weren't so angry. A heavy metal that could appeal to people that didn't have the depths of an intellect when it came to musical composition. There's so many bands out there that play their ass off, but unfortunately don't get listened to because the level of musicianship or the technical application that goes into playing, and it's like, oh wow, this guy's playing a Phrygian dominant seventh. But I can understand that and I can appreciate that as a guitar player, as a composer, but I was noticing going to the shows with all these technical groups and all these really math fanatics, and while it holds a special place to me as a musician, it gets lost in translation on the dance floor.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
And having a woman in the group, I wanted to write sex. I wanted the music to be attractive from a sexual point of view. And I honestly, I haven't felt a lot of, sex and humanity and some of the other emotions being revealed in heavy metal. So that was my aim, and I get a lot of those influences from 90s era R&B, a lot of Motown, electronic ideas like techno and house music come into play, and for sure these are like conceptual or syncopative ideas, but what I wanted to really bleed through and blur the lines was the emotion that you got from those other genres. So I think we're inherently heavy metal, but honestly, with all the aggressive groups out there, we wanted to write a heavy metal that wasn't hateful, really, or angry or violent. We wanted it to be intense. We wanted it to be emotional. And how do you write sex without having the blues in it? So there's a tremendous amount of blues and R&B approaches that we take towards the music. But I mean, at the end, it's just heavy metal, I think.
Now, you used the term emotional there. It's interesting. My next question, I wanted to ask about one of the tunes that I gravitated to a little bit today called Force You to Lay Down. And I wrote that I was trying to kind of gauge it, what it was about, and listen to it. Didn't really come up with what I thought it was exactly about, but it feels like an emotional song. What can you tell us about it?
We have the knack of writing about everything and nothing, and while sometimes that's like, oh wow, that's such a transparent answer, if you peel back the layers, most of what we're talking about is usually like literal in the sense, but this particular song is we do a lot of female power kind of stuff, and being in heavy metal music with so many female screamers and aggressive females, Melissa really has an elegant kind of feminine touch to her presentation, and to embellish that in the music, we always like to give her the torch to be the powerful singer and personality that we know that she has inside her. So this is a female power song. This is a song that represents strong women, strong sexual women, women without the stress and anxiety of finding your fingerprint in a male-dominated genre, and basically telling the boys, it's your turn to lay on your back a little bit. And I can respect Melissa for that, because it's tough for a lot of young ladies, especially clean singers, to hold that metal title, and we get that a lot, that we're not metal enough, or we're too metal, or as your question before, what kind of metal, sure, and all the sub-genre edges, and Melissa being a female, and in the New England area, it's primarily a very aggressive metal scene. So we were always that other band. We were always that different band, taking the stage that night. And I think that a lot of that song represents a unity and power for female voices in the genre.
Now, hey, before I let you guys go here, I want to direct folks to your merch store, where you have some unusual, or I don't want to call them unusual, you've got some unique items for a band, because you don't see a lot of bands selling swimwear or pillows or a blanket, which is a cool thing. So tell us about your merch decisions, man. It's kind of cool. Swimwear, man. I never saw a band do that before.
I wish me and Tim could take maybe a little bit more credit for this, but I assure you, and here's the fine print, we're not responsible for anything that happens in that merch store other than giving the girls compliments for what they create. The girls do that. Our merch girl, Lexi, and Melissa design a lot of that stuff. Some of it crosses my eyes before it hits the website. But we, shockingly, there'll be something that I say, that's never going to sell. It's a coffee cup or a blanket. And surprisingly, with the ladies playing so heavy in the band, they talk with everybody every Sunday night on a segment that we call Swarm TV on our band page. They've been doing it for a year. They got 250,000 views last year on book, and they talk with the fans, and the fans tell them and dictate to them what they want, and the ladies jump on Photoshop and yeah, man, they bring out the color wheel, and so they're really responsible for all the creative things that you see in the shop. I can't take any credit for that.
Well, it's good stuff, and it's cool that you do it because we think about it a lot. We go to a lot of shows, and how many T-shirts can you have? So it's nice when there's something different you can pick up. So it's a cool thing. So, hey, man, we've had William and Tim. They are from Manchester, New Hampshire band Sepsiss. Their new album, Almost 11, is due out on August 21st. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time tonight.
No problem, bro. You take it easy, okay?